Good evening. Thank you for a short moment of your time. This presentation is 2 years in the making. So Mr. Laurie and I were on the agenda to present to the board in late March of 2019. We got bumped from the agenda. We then were going to be on the agenda about 6 weeks ago, and we also got bumped from the agenda. So we're back. So persistence has kept us coming back. We're here this evening to give you an update on our elementary robotics program. It's a pilot program. Before I turn it over to Mr. Laurie, who will wow you with a really wonderful presentation, I just want to give a brief history of how we got here. Last year, in the middle of the winter, Mr. Laurie came to me with an idea of how to enhance our already existing RamQuest robotics program with an after-school club. So I tasked him with coming up with what that would look like. He did. We brought it to the extracurricular committee last year and presented what an after-school club for fourth graders would look like. Mr. Laurie, being the thrifty person that he is, was able to use some of our existing resources, and our home and school was willing to offset some of the costs. The extracurricular committee was favorable to the idea. We brought it to the board, who gave us permission to pilot it this year. So we've held 2 after-school clubs so far. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Laurie, who will tell you a little bit more about what it looks like.
Thank you very much. And thank you for giving us the time this evening to talk about this great program and to actually show you some of the great work that our students completed while they were in the club. So tonight we're going to talk about a couple things. First off, we have to show you a video so you can see, like I said, the great work that they were doing, the problem solving, the teamwork. They really did a nice job. And of course, Andrew Rothermill always does a great job making everyone he makes videos of look great. We're going to talk about what we needed to make the club work, resources, things like that. We're going to talk about how it went. I'm going to give you a spoiler. Well, it went really well. And talk about possible future steps, because like Dr. Moyer mentioned, this is a pilot program. So where do we go from here? All right, so we're going to go ahead. Oh, of course, any questions or comments from you, we always welcome them. So we're going to take a look at the video.
My name is Zach Laurie, and I'm a RamQuest teacher at Brooke Elementary, and I'm also the advisor for the robotics club here at Brooke Elementary School. It really started with the student interest in robotics during RamQuest. So we do many things in RamQuest, but robotics is probably one of the kids' favorite building. We noticed that at the upper levels, there's a lot of interest in robotics, and they even do a competition yearly. So we thought, what a great thing to start at the elementary level, get kids interested at the younger age, thinking about the competition and solving missions, and then seeing where that takes us by the time they get to high school.
All of us were trying to at least have dash circle around the cup 10 times. We're learning how to program robots and then how to use the computers to program them. So we're doing, my team actually completed this challenge, is to make dash go towards the cup and go around in the circle around the cup for 10 seconds. And it was honestly challenging to get the cup just to make dash not bump into the cup. We code and we use all the drive controls, and then eventually we put together some pieces and it works out.
It's a set of 5 missions that take roughly 2 hours to complete, give or take, where the students are given a scenario. You have to start your robot here, and it has to do something. It might be it has to push a couple things on the game mat. It might be that it has to rotate and orbit around an object, a cup, or whatever it is that you put on the mat. The really interesting part is it's built on a problem. They're not given too many hints, although sometimes I do end up giving them hints, but they really have to work together to problem solve. So they're given that problem. How do we solve it? What do we do? how do we code our robot to make this work? This year, we have a ton of students interested. We ended up with about 56 kids who wanted to sign up. We split them into two groups, two large groups, preferably smaller groups for the future, but we didn't want to say no to anyone. So we have 27 kids in the current group. We're finishing up soon and starting session 2 with the remaining group of children. The goal really is to provide the kids with a fun after-school activity that really helps them work on teamwork and problem-solving skills, with the hope that it builds interest in robotics and engineering, of course, but also helps them with critical thinking skills, working together, all those things that they need to be able to do to be successful in school.
We're trying to make it circle around the cup, but it's not working because something's wrong with the wheel speed. So I'm gonna try it again and see if it works, but I don't think it will.
We have it going forward 90, and then we have it turn at a certain degree angle.
Okay.
So we can set it into the circle, and then we start it going forward a little bit, and then we have it go super fast
All right.
around it.
That works really well. Now, question for you. This is perfect. There is a way to do it without these two steps right here. You definitely found a good solution. You could leave these two blocks out if you change the speed of the wheels.
And make that go slow.
Currently, we're just using the club with our 4th graders. Technically, you could extend it to other ages, but we knew there would be so much interest just from our 4th graders that we decided to start there. The Wonder League does create missions based on age level. So if other schools would choose to use that same challenge, you could potentially do it with 2nd and 3rd graders and then have a 4th grade group. What I personally would love to see is for this to grow. So maybe we start with 4th grade across the district, and potentially, as long as the interest level is still there, see some kind of robotics club, perhaps a competition at the middle level, ultimately knowing that it's going to continue into the high school where they do the Vex, I believe it's the Vex Robotics competition, which the kids, the students there absolutely love. So I'd love to see it grow and really expand across the district. That would be my hope.
All right, so as you could see in that video, do a great job with it. They work really well on teams, and they solve the problems. Not always right away, and to me, that's actually a good thing. That means that I'm doing my job. Things shouldn't be so easy all the time that they never have to persevere. So I love when I hear students like Kira say, something's wrong, but I'm not sure what it is yet. To me, that's gold. That's why we're here. And a couple things, I did get a chance to go to the Vex competition this year, and it was absolutely amazing. My 3-year-old didn't allow me to stay for very long, but the little bit I saw was fantastic. So hopefully we have some future students who will continue to be interested in and go into that in the future. So what did we need to make this happen? Well, several things. First off, an advisor, in this case it was me, and supportive administration. So Dr. Moyer, I want to give you credit for working with us to get this idea off the ground. Upper administration as well. And of course, in the end, board approval for the pilot program. So thank you very much. For each team, we needed a dash robot, which at Brooke we had. And we also needed a mission mat. And you really need 1 mat per team. Our home and school was generous as always and purchased those for us. So I'm very thankful for our home and school as well. We needed a device for coding, and due to the changes in our technology over the last 1.5 years, one of the real positives out of all this is we have devices for the students to use. In our case, we used Chromebooks. We needed internet access, so no issues there. Our buildings are wired for wireless internet. And we needed some challenges. We utilized the Wonder League Robotics competition, which actually is an international competition. We didn't participate in the national or international part. We used the missions at the local level. We did need a large space, and we have a great place in the gym at Brooke Elementary School. And of course, one of the most important ingredients for all of this is interested and excited students. And we had a ton, as you heard. We had 56 students, which was fantastic and really challenging at the same time. But I loved the interest in it. It was fantastic. In terms of how it went, I already gave you a spoiler. It went really well. And I'm really happy to say that because I wanted it to go well and I wanted the students to really enjoy it. And I believe they did. We did have 56 students that participated. We're actually working with the second cohort now. We finished our 7th session, so we have 3 more Mondays of missions to hopefully accomplish and figure out. Like I said, 10 meetings per cohort. From the feedback that I've gotten from parents, both verbally and written, it's being well received. The students are really excited and they look forward to Mondays. Maybe not so much all the work during the day, but definitely the robotics club at the end of the day. I believe it was challenging and fun for the students. And again, to me, that's an important part of it. I want it to be challenging. I don't want them to be able to solve the mission in 5 minutes and say, oh, that was easy. I love hearing, I'm not sure what to do. I might give a couple hints to keep them going. I never want them to experience frustration, but a little productive struggle is a fantastic thing. We did have a few challenges just in the coding knowledge that the students have because of some challenges over the last few years. And I know the term a lot of people use is learning loss. To me, it's learning delay. And I'm starting to see the benefits of being back in person, working with coding in school. My second cohort's doing even better than my first cohort with the challenges. So I can already see them catching up on some of those coding skills, which is fantastic to see. The size of the cohorts was a little challenging. I had 7 teams. Most of them had 4 students per team. Ideally, you would have 3 students per team because it maximizes their time to code, their time to really be involved. When you add that 4th person, they're still involved. But to me, I would prefer 3, again, to increase that time on task and the time that they can actually spend coding. So the pilot is almost over. That begs the question, where do we go from here? And I'm hoping, and I hope you agree, that programs like this should continue here at Springford. So should Robotics Club continue at Brooke? Yes, please, I hope so. And I think the students do as well. Should Robotics Club spread to the other Springford elementary schools? I think that would be great. And I just based on the interest at Brooke, I can't imagine the students at Upper Providence, Spring City, Oaks, I can't imagine, and all the other schools as well, I can't imagine they wouldn't be just as interested. Should we have a culminating event, maybe a district-wide event for an after-school robotics club? That would be really great. That would be cool. I do think we should, if we go this route, give the program a little time to gain its footing, just so that the students and the staff that are involved can really understand how it works. But then, why not? I think that would be fantastic. Based on the Vex event, I can't imagine we wouldn't have interested people that would want to attend and see the great things that are happening. Should we extend Robotics Club up or down to other grades? I really think that's worth considering. We could start at the younger level and see where we can go throughout the years. I'm hoping that some of my 4th graders this year that participated are going to be the students in 6-ish years who are then working at the Vex Competition and really wowing everybody with the great robots. They really were cool if you didn't get a chance to go. So I'm really hoping that this will continue to evolve, continue to grow. And I really think it was a great investment for the students at Brooke Elementary. So again, thank you to all of you. And of course, some former board members as well who approved the pilot program. I really do appreciate it. And I guarantee you our students do as well. So I've just talked a lot. I've given you a lot to think about. I absolutely welcome any questions that you might have. Some of them might be Dr. Moyer questions, but please let us know if you have any questions, any comments. We would love to hear your feedback.
Just briefly for my colleagues on the board. So when the update was presented at the extracurricular committee, and I didn't realize it was 6 weeks ago, you were bumped again. Sorry, Dr. Moore, but I felt like it was very important, all things considered, for all of you and the general public to get firsthand visibility into this. I believe the next step will be for us to huddle at the committee level and figure out what a recommendation would be. So just in case you're thinking about what's next, that would be what's next. So thank you very much for coming in. That video is fantastic. I think this program is something really exciting.
Thank you, Dave, or Mr. Schaefer, I'm sorry. And let me just say, as a elementary parent, as a board member, I am really excited to hear that the success of this program was more than you anticipated. And frankly, the fact that we're instilling the love of the sciences at an early age to hopefully foster that as they get older into the secondary grades is a wonderful thing. I do want to defer to anyone else at the table here that has questions or comments for Mr. Laurie or Dr. Moyer.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to add, as a Brooke parent with a second grader and a kindergartner, that you definitely have interest in the lower grades, because I know that both of my kids are dying to do robotics. So you can see them at the door sometimes on Monday nights. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this was really, really impressive. And I appreciate that you put the A in STEAM and not just STEM, because the importance of the design mind in building these robots and thinking about how to improve them is awesome. And I get to talk to scientists at work sometimes, and we talk about what inspired them to do what they do. And it always comes back to moments in childhood, whether it was dad teaching them acting out math problems, or a particular event at a school, something like this, or a robot. And I think how important it is to see kids doing this so young, because it's like you're saying, they're calculating in their mind how to fix things, and it becomes so natural for them when they start doing this at a young age. So thank you for this. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I'd like to add that I'm totally.
Couple of thoughts that I had. First, thanks for doing it. Thanks for carrying through and for keeping it going even during our darkest days. And sorry you got bumped twice too. We all did in a sense, but I am sorry that happens because this is so important. I think the biggest takeaway I had from this was that you're meeting the kids where they learn. They learn this technology and all this so much earlier, and in many cases they're so much better at it than we are, right? Because they just their mind, it's like learning a language. You can do that better at a younger age when you don't have the influences from the outside that block you from being able to learn. So I think that's really great, and I think you're building skills like you were talking about, the critical thinking, and well beyond just the robotics, the cooperation piece, all of that. So that's really awesome. I wonder if this is a trend in other districts that you've seen at all. Have you seen any of that?
So I can't reference specific districts, but I know from reading about this competition that we use the missions from, a lot of schools utilize the age group that I use the missions for is called the Pioneer Cup. So there are many schools that participate, not just in the United States, but all across the world. So it's definitely something that's growing. I can't give you specific districts locally, but I do know that there is a general thought that this is good for students. It is a natural extension of what we do in RamQuest. Some of the things that you mentioned, cooperation and things like that. A lot of people call them soft skills, but they're actually some of the most important skills. And we focus a lot on them. Obviously, we work on science and engineering and lots of activities that are science connected, but we also really work on a lot of those soft skills because they are so important, not just in school, but in all aspects of life.
Yeah, in life. So I would think that maybe this will, though, gain some traction, not only here, but in other places. And it will be nice for Springford to be a leader again and gain some traction. I wonder if there won't be some grant money that doesn't become available also to maybe help so that you could have smaller cohorts if you had more mats or Chromebooks even by, I think we have plenty of those, but I wonder if maybe that's not going to be an option that will help. I was also thinking when you were saying about the parents and the students being happy at the end, are you doing any kind of post survey or any kind of interview or anything at the end that maybe you can get that information?
Sure, I can definitely do that.
Maybe something like that. And, you know, I think if you were to go to other schools, you know, in our district, and then maybe have a huge event at the end, that it's just a natural predecessor to the Vex Robotics. And in fact, Karen had leaned over at one point and said, maybe those students that are in the Vex could come back and even help you and in some way mentor the students that are in your group. I mean, you have so many opportunities and so many doors to open with us. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for hanging in during our dark days, as I said, to keep this alive and going. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right, if there's additional
No,
questions.
I would like to talk about.
Thank you,
about it.
Dr. Wright.
Thank you. First of all, engaging our students in learning is so desperately what we're trying to do these days. And this is the kind of activity that gets the students interested. You said, I love that you do it on a Monday too. Get them coming in on Monday. And Mr. Laurie, thank you very much. I've worked with you, and we just give you permission to do something like, hey, here's RamQuest, take off. And you are that type of flourishing teacher that just looks for an opportunity and brings this to us. And Dr. Moyer for, you know, being that kind of person saying, yes, you know, we could do this. These, you referred to them, Mr. Laurie, as soft skills. I think of them as the non-measurables. We spend so much of what we're doing here looking at data and what is measurable in data, but there's so much that is not measurable that is so valuable to our students. So I had the opportunity to be at that extracurricular meeting, so to view this ahead of time, and was just kind of blown away then, and I still am now. So I really hope that we can continue to grow this program, and it's only because we have staff that are willing to take this on. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that I'm really blown away with this, and it's such a young age that these kids are participating in, and I wonder how much of this gets out to the community in general of what you're accomplishing. It's just amazing, and it's made me feel completely stupid. So anyway, congratulations, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Any additional comments or questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Laurie. Thank you, Dr. Moyer.
Thank you.